All right, what's up, guys? I'm Rico, and I'm making this video for my good friends over at AMZScout. Love you guys. I'm a seven-figure Amazon seller, and I am here to show you guys how you can do the same thing that I do. Okay, so this is going to be more beginner focused. We're going to be helping you guys get started and move forward with your Amazon businesses and the journey. Okay, so do you need to set up a business in order to start selling on Amazon? Not necessarily. Okay, and it's going to be dependent on whether you are in America or outside of America if you're selling on Amazon US. Okay, we're going to be specifically speaking about Amazon US and not necessarily Amazon Canada, Mexico, or one of the others. Now, if you are planning on selling, the typical way, you do not need to have a business. You can sign up as a sole proprietor. Okay, now that does not lead you to have a lot of benefits if you sign up as a sole prop, mainly just from the tax perspective. All right, you're going to be paying based on your personal income. All right, so the money that you make from Amazon, you're going to get a W-9, and they're going to be taxing you at a certain rate. Now, if you have a business, it's going to come with a lot of perks for taxes, as well as what we're going to talk about with suppliers and things of that nature. Okay, so when you are out of country, it will behoove you to get an EIN, get a business set up, and move on from there. Do you have to? Not necessarily. You can sign up as a sole prop, but it is very tricky when it comes to tax time, and we're going to talk about why in just a second. All right, let's go. When it comes to taxes, there are certain structures that you can fall under, something like a C Corp, which is going to be an unlimited amount of shareholders, really big companies. Think Apple, Google, things like that. S Corps, which are up to 25 shareholders, which would be smaller, something maybe for you like a pass-through entity, because typically S Corps have a like 15% tax rate. So thanks to the man in charge upstairs, effectively have changed the tax rate, things of that. They're sole proprietors or single member LLCs. If you were the only person, and they kind of operate something similar. But in order to reap those benefits and get business bank accounts and things of that nature, you're going to need an EIN or a tax number. Okay, employee identification number. If you guys are unfamiliar with what an EIN is. Now, an EIN is going to be necessary when you want to go open a business bank account or apply for business credit. Typically, banks will require you to be the personal guarantee, the PG, to get business credit initially, because you will not have enough, sales volume, if any at all, in order for them to show, in order for them to give you credit, give you a credit card or a line of credit or something like that. All right, so that's why that's important. But as you move along and you start selling more and more, you're going to have the opportunity to be able to get more capital, because you'll have sales history, and you'll be able to have a business rating, business credit rating, I should say, based on your sales and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to business credit ratings, you'll want to register with Duns & Bradstreet. You get a DNB number, and which is going to be important for your business credit, but that'll be later on in your Amazon selling career. So how does this all play out when it comes to selling on Amazon? So having all these things established in the beginning will help you later on when it comes time for taxes and things like that, when because you're going to be signing a W-9 with Amazon, so that way your accountant can have a tab of what you've been selling and things like that. So there are going to be multiple methods of selling on Amazon, and some of them are going to be closed off to you if you do not have a business, right? So retail arbitrage is one of those ways that most people can get started. You can go into Walmart, you can go into Home Depot, you can go into Lowe's, whatever, find items on sale and then list them on Amazon. Okay, you can go purchase them, drop them off at FedEx, ship them into an Amazon warehouse, and there you go. You can start FBA that way, or you can do fulfill by merchant, which would be you. You can send them out yourselves, or do seller fulfilled prime if your account is eligible for it. Now, there's also private label, and you don't necessarily need a business for that, because a lot of the companies you're going to be contacting are overseas, off in China. All right, they don't necessarily care whether you have a business or not. You're going to be able to go to them, get pretty fair pricing, and then list on Amazon, whether they be FBA or done through fulfilled by merchant. Wholesale, on the other hand, you need to have an EIN, you need to have a business. Okay, there's no way around it. You have to have it. Okay, without having an actual business, you are not going to be able to make any money whatsoever. Okay, most companies are not going to talk to you if you're trying to go the wholesale route and you do not have an EIN, a business, a bank account, or in some cases, multiple wholesale contracts. You might even have to do a buy-in, okay? If you don't have a business, they're not going to allow you to do a buy-in anyway, because they only want to do business with people that are going to help their brand. You know, things like Craftsman's Tools, let's see, Nabisco, if you're doing Oreos and things like that, okay? So keep that in mind. You will need a business for that, because you're going to have to sign a contract. There's going to be minimum advertised pricing. There's going to be minimum quantity ordered, all types of things, and you will never be able to get those sheets if you guys do not have a business, all right? But is that going to hamper you from actually selling on Amazon? Let's talk about it. So remember how I was talking about private label and how you guys would be getting the majority of your items over, in China? Well, you can also trademark, and we're going to talk about trademarks and things like that for specifically for the people who are outside of America. You can get a Chinese trademark. If you're going to be private labeling, getting your items from China, you might want to set up a trademark over in China and over here in the US, because you do not want people to be able to create the same product and then brand it as their own. And that's what trademarks are good for. But without having a business, trademarks can be kind of tricky, especially when it comes to just being an individual who is reaching out, trying to, get something, trademark and say it's mine and all this stuff. If you have a business, it makes it a much easier process. Now, it's not going to be a shorter process. It's going to be a little bit easier. And this is especially important, when people are coming from the from outside the U.S. and they're trying to sell private label on the American market, and they want their product, branded and trademarked. Right? They're going to have to work with a lawyer in order to get that trademark, and it takes roughly 9 to 12 months to get a trademark here in the U.S. Over in China, not necessarily as long, depending on who you know. Over here in America, it doesn't matter. You're going to need a trademark lawyer if you are out of the U.S. Now, if you're an American citizen, it's not going to be necessary, although I still do recommend one. Okay, it's highly recommended that you get that. Right, and having a trademark just keeps your product safe, and it allows for you to sell and not have to worry about any of the repercussions. Okay, that way, if someone on Amazon decides to mimic your product or try to sell the same exact product, you can go to Amazon and it will boot them off right off the bat. And if you end up having a slogan for one of your products, you can also get that slogan copyrighted. Okay, like, I don't know, let's say your slogan is "Let's get some." Well, you can copyright that slogan. No one else can use it on their product. Or you can kind of license it out and then, get paid for it. Okay, but in order to do that, having a company is going to be very, very important. You don't want to be, the person who's just an individual trying to go through this process, because it can be kind of tricky. But you're like, where do I want to set a company up? You don't necessarily have to set a company up in the state that you live. And if you're out of the US, you do not have to set up a company in a specific state. Now, Delaware, Nevada, Florida are generally very favorable because of the tax benefits. All right. Delaware is where I have my company set up at, and they don't have any sales tax or any personal income tax. So therefore, taxes are very favorable for me. Right? May not be the same for you. You're going to have to talk to a CPA and go through that. But there are companies out there like LegalZoom and Eat Now that can help you out and get your company set up in those places. They can act as a registered agent for you to handle things within that state, as far as like taxes and opening up bank accounts. Because if you want to open a business bank account, no matter where you are, whether you're opening up a business bank account in another state or not, you are going to need to have a business in order to do that. And you're probably going to have articles of formation, which you would get, by having a company help you with that and establish your business. But there's also a whole lot of other things that come along with it, and we're about to talk about them right now. So now that you guys have your businesses all set up, you got your EIN, whether you're going to be an S Corp, C Corp, or a single member LLC, or a sole prop, or whatever, you have all that stuff out the way. You got your business bank account, you have the whole nine. Now, if you guys were using AMZScout Pro to find your product, you go on private label, you're like, all right, we're good, everything's fine. You find something good, right? Well, you might want to find product insurance just in case. And it's mainly just to cover your backside, will cover your company's backside in case of something bad happening, like a lawsuit. Okay, having product insurance will keep that from hitting you personally. Okay, having general insurance, just liability insurance, there's going to be different levels to it, but it's something that I highly, highly recommend if you're trying to build a brand on Amazon, like the rest of us. Okay, There are a few of my private label products that I definitely have insurance on. There are others that I do not yet because I did not necessarily see the need for them. But things that I know people are going to be using are like, little Timmy maybe using, like a child, or maybe it's topical or something along those lines. I definitely recommend insurance for it. And having a business is a little bit easier when it comes to getting your product insurance. It's not always, going to be the end all, but just generally having a business protects you as an individual from some of the negatives that happen. And it gives you a lot of benefits that you normally would not get without having your own business or corporation. Okay, so hopefully this has been informative. Hopefully you guys have checked this out. Please, check out the AMZScout software. It's enabled me to do all that I do. For all my wholesale research, my private label research, I use AMZScout Pro, and it's helped me become a 7-figure seller. You guys can do the same thing. Hopefully these steps are going to get you there. Make sure you follow them. Make sure you guys use this information and get started on the Amazon journey. All right, I'm going to check you guys out in the next one. Peace out.